thrilled that you found your way here. My name is Dana Grant, and I'm a Master Intuitive Life Coach, and I want to thank you for joining me here on the Living Ashram app. Really, in this segment, I'll be speaking on something that has gotten me through some of the most challenging times in my life, and that is trusting the process, learning how to trust the process. If you have a pen and paper handy, I really would encourage you to take notes. I find it extremely helpful to write things down. I personally love sticky notes. This is an action plan. It helps reinforce this new thought process that you'll be implementing. And, let's begin, as I would with anyone who is physically or on Zoom these days, sitting in a chair in front of me for a coaching session. First, I want to ask you a question. What are you tolerating in your life? You may be tolerating your own behavior, or you may be tolerating behaviors from others, but I want you to make a list on what you are tolerating. Now, give yourself a moment and to drop in and review your experiences with yourself and others on what you're putting up with, where your resentments are. Usually, if you're feeling resentful, that means you've breached a boundary and you are tolerating entirely too much. I find that in trusting the process, setting boundaries is one of the most important first steps that we can take in implementing and creating a safe space so we're able to unpack on what we've been carrying in our bodies and where the parameters are that we need to set up and restructure some things in our life. One of my favorite things that I look at is I create a surrounding and signs, visual signs around me. And on my desk, as I just looked up, I looked at a sign that says, "Love rewards the brave." That for me reinforces that every time I step into my soul self and I trust my intuition and the outcome with no attachments to my outcome, that I'm being rewarded. I'm stepping into being brave, which really allows me to lean in and see what this process is that I need to understand and develop and allow to unfold. I want you to write down things that you've accomplished from the past, things that you've achieved. Let's build up, not take away. Mistakes happen. There is no perfection. This is one of the key components on trusting and moving forward and releasing, is celebrating what you've achieved from the past. I imagine that you have a lot of things that you can celebrate. So why don't you take a moment and write down what it is you can celebrate about yourself that you have learned from the past. What I really want to encourage you to do is start living in this moment, celebrating this moment, releasing any form of perfection, and actually being present. Vow to be completely present. Make this a mission that you are going to release any forms of perfection, and you're just going to be present. And you're going to trust whatever is going to happen, and you're going to drop into your intuition, and you're going to look for signs and say, hey, I recognize that I thought about that yesterday, and that is a sign that confirms that I'm on the right track. When we step into the unknown and we release the outcome, where we just don't know what the outcome is going to be, what comes up for you? What's coming up for you right now when you step in and say, I'm going to trust the process and I have no idea what the outcome is going to be. I have no expectations attached to the outcome. Well, a lot of people, what comes up for them is control. They have no control and it can make them anxious. This is why really being present goes hand in hand. This root level up, this whole human approach is in trusting the process, we must step into breath work. We must step into our body. We must trust this process that the universe has got our back and is supporting us along the way, that we are not alone, that we are all connected. Let me say that again. Deep breath. We are all connected. This is where you're diving into. This is where trusting the process comes from, your body. And that is a muscle that you're utilizing. All of this is building a future of happiness. I mean, there's a goal to trusting the process. And really what we want is more joy, small joys in our life, more happiness. When we learn to trust, when we learn to let go of expectations, when we learn to forgive and realize that we're human. This is a whole human approach. We are human, and humans make mistakes. So I want you to stop and forgive yourself for any mistake that you've made right now. I want you to say, I forgive myself. I forgive any mistake. I know better now. I know better. I can do better. And I will. At this moment forward, I'm going to drop in and utilize my intuition, and I'm not going to rely on my past experiences for my future outcome. Really what this is doing is allowing you to move forward so you're not stuck, so you don't have to deal with a particular challenge in your future and outcome. Usually it's our expectations of the outcome that allow us to go back into monkey brain. We spin out of control. We have a self-fulfilled prophecy of what's going to go down because we have not stepped into trusting our process. I want you to accept your past without regret. I want you to handle your presence with complete confidence. I want you to face your future without any fear. That sounds simple, right? Well, actually it is. This is why trusting the process is such a big part. And I know that's repetitive, and I really want you, by the time this moment, this micro moment I have with you is gone, that I've planted the seeds and you understand that this is one of the key components to the freedom that you're going to feel in your life, into releasing the limited beliefs, into releasing the bondage that you feel from shame and the shackles you feel from the past that you haven't been able to release. This is really the simplicity of this is that you're going to step in, you're going to apply forgiveness, and you're going to move forward in the trust that you understand that the muscle of your intuition that you're using will get stronger and stronger. And I mean, it's so exciting. This is why I chose to speak about trusting the process today, because this is one of the most valuable tools that you have. It's free, it's simple, and it's easy to access, and it lives right in your body. Would you have to surf through limited beliefs to get there? Well, we can always block ourselves. But this is the glory of trusting the process. This is what I love so much about this, is that we can simply ask the universe, ask God, ask the source, hey, I feel alone. I need some help in trusting. Give me some signs. Show me the way. How many times? I mean, it's built in many songs. It's in lots of cliches, but that's what makes it so truthful, that it's everywhere because of the truth of the simplicity of it. No amount of anxiety is going to change your future, and really no amount of regret can change your past. We know that. We know that, but yet we still allow that to take hold of our life. So I want you to make a list of things that you might be avoiding about your future because you think you can't make the change. I want you to make also a list about confronting and dealing with these things. I want you to understand that you have the power. You hold all the power to release the outcome, to even release the things that you're avoiding about the future, and just snap your fingers and say, if I trust the process and I live in the present moment, and I make the small steps that are needed in my life, moving in the direction that I need to do, that the future takes care of itself. Let me say that again. The future unfolds and takes care of itself when we take the small steps and we do what needs to be done today. That doesn't mean that by trusting the process, voila, snap, a genie is going to show up and your future is going to be without any problems. I want to remind you in this process that emotions can be very tricky. Let me say that again. Emotions can be very tricky. And in trusting the process, we really do need to know that the lessons and wisdom that you gain from your life experiences are invaluable. You are a master at your own life. And if you can take those lessons and apply them and with forgiveness and love, let me say that again, forgiveness and love for all past aggressions, mistakes, forgive yourself and allow yourself to step into this process and be present. Look for signs. Release any expectations. You will know a freedom, a level of freedom that you've never experienced. I hope that you all experience a level of freedom that comes from this process and trusting it. I want to add that you need to choose to take 100% responsibility for your life, for it all. That's including forgiveness, love, compassion, trust. And you really also have to ask yourself, what do I want? What do I want in this life? Get very real about what you want and where you see yourself. And I want you to ask yourself that over and over and over again. What do I want? And then I want you to follow this up with, does it feel like love? Does it bring me joy? In order to trust our future, we must understand what we want and how we're going to get there. It's through the small steps, the daily steps of joy. Being present brings our happiness. That's where it lives, not in the future. And you also have to identify what stops you. Where do you stop yourself? I want you to write right now. I want you to write out, what is the noise in your head? Where are you stopping yourself? What lies are you telling yourself? You know, because we hide out. We hide out and we don't become present in our life because we're unwilling to admit our relationship with ourselves. So I'm asking you to get very real with yourself. In order to trust this process, I need you to be present. I need you to get real. Ask yourself what you want. Incorporate the small joys. Celebrate yourself every day. Make a list of celebrations every day about you. You are worth celebrating. I hope you implement all these tools, and I want you to trust yourself and this process and set yourself free. Need some more tools? I'm going to add some extra bonuses here. Give voice to your strengths. Even if you're just writing them down on a paper, I want to know the 5 best things about you, your 5 top accomplishments. Write them down, celebrate them. Acknowledge what you need, acknowledge where you're at, and that is the first step to transformation. I want health, wealth, and love and prosperity for you, and all that can be found in trusting the process.